What's going on, everyone? So, a lot of heavy reporting that JJ Redick is going to be the Lakers head coach. Now, this is something that I think we all kind of expect to happen at this point, right? They took the shot at Dan Hurley, that fell through, and it's like, okay, it's going to be JJ Redick. But JJ Redick actually had the interview and kind of worked out all the ins and outs. I don't know this. I don't. This is just my thoughts. I think that they already made him an offer. Again, I could be wrong. This is just my personal opinion, right? I'm just a fan. I'm not an insider. I'm not a reporter or anything like that. So just want to make that clear. But you just had another interview with JJ Redick. You want to get this process done ASAP, right? Kind of have a gauge with Dan Hurley and kind of the price range, right? I don't necessarily think JJ will get that much, but the Lakers might go, hey, we were going to give that much to Dan Hurley. Let's give it JJ, sign him to a longer-term deal. I could see that happening. I think he'll probably get a longer-term deal because I think the Lakers are going to hope and bank that, hey, JJ is the guy, right? I think that they're going to hope and bank like, hey, we found our coach, and in 2-3 years we don't have to start this process all over again. I think that the Lakers are going to offer him probably like in the 4 to 6 year range. Again, I could be wrong, but again, that's what they did with Darvin Ham. I expect them to do the same thing with JJ Redick. I think that they gave JJ Redick a contract offer. I don't think he's officially signed it yet, or if he did, it's not going to get processed because he can't officially become the Lakers head coach until after the NBA Finals and the ESPN deal, which could happen, Monday, right? But I just think you're going to go through this. You're having the conversation. They've already met and talked to him once. Based on reports, they've kind of had back and forth conversations numerous times. There were reports that the Lakers were already looking for assistants, right? Like, you don't do that unless you know who your head coach is, right? You're not going to start shopping and looking for assistants when, you're not buying a wedding dress when you don't even have a boyfriend, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, they already have somebody in place that they're going to get, and they're looking for assistance, right? I think that they already worked everything out. I think they already hashed everything out. I think we'll get through the NBA Finals, whether it ends on Monday or, in Game 6, 7, whatever it ends up being. I think maybe even days. I don't think it'll happen immediately. A lot of people are like, as soon as the finals is over, it's going to be announced. JJ, is it? Could, sure. I think it'll probably be a day. They'll probably let a day or two marinate, right? You'll probably have the NBA Finals. Fortunately, the Celtics probably going to win that, right? Say Monday, they end up winning. I could see, them kind of letting that marinate for a day. Let the media and everyone kind of talk about that. And then I could see, Wednesday or Thursday, the announcement of JJ Redick is the Lakers head coach, and they already had the deal done. They already had everything finalized. Maybe JJ just goes back, signs it, and they're off to the races. Again, that's just my opinion. But you have reports from Dan Woke. You have reports from Mark Stein that have both said JJ Redick's going to be the head coach, right? There's a report from Mark Stein where he literally is talking, or he says that he's talking to people, and they're like, you already know who the head coach is going to be, and that is referring to JJ Redick. So if that's the case, and these reports are true, and JJ Redick is basically surefire the Lakers head coach, it would make sense that they've already worked out all the formalities, right? Like, they've already gone through the process and done everything that they need to do, and are just waiting. Okay, let's be patient. Let's let this play out, and then we'll hire JJ. And I think JJ will end up being the head coach. Now, again, could be wrong, right? Media's wrong all the time. Look at Woj, right? Like, even though I didn't buy Dan Hurley for a second being the head coach, I really do believe. I've said this already, but say it again. I really do believe Dan Hurley was just the smokescreen to distract from JJ while he went and did the NBA Finals. Why did it come out on the first game, the day of the first game? Supposedly, they were talking to Dan Hurley for a month, right? Even though the reports don't even add up. The reports don't even make sense. Supposedly they were talking to him for like a month, but then they said that they didn't find out till like a week before they offered him the contract that he was still in contract negotiations, right? Like the reports are all over the place. None of them add up. Even Woj's reports didn't add up and make sense, which is why I was like, this isn't going to happen. This is all just like Dan Hurley's using the Lakers for leverage. I know he tried to say that they weren't, but go listen to the actual interview. Everything he says makes it sound like he used them for leverage and then goes, I'm not trying to use them for leverage. I don't need them for leverage. Like, well, you clearly did. But I also think to an extent the Lakers, kind of used him as the distraction and as the scapegoat. Could be wrong. If we hire JJ, that theory makes a lot more sense. Because I just think, one, all of the conversation was JJ, right? He's getting ready to go to the NBA Finals. You have all this like hype and talk, and they're not even talking about the final. They're talking about the Lakers and JJ Redick, right? So, hey, look over here. JJ kind of gets taken out of the media for a little bit. It's all about Dan Hurley. They get through like 3 games, right, where it's all about Dan Hurley, and JJ gets to kind of just focus and tune out the noise for a little bit. Dan Hurley falls through, right? Boom, it's right back to JJ Redick. And here we are, all the reports coming out for JJ Redick again, and now the conversation narrative is done. But luckily, the finals is more likely than not already over. And I also think Dan Hurley is the scapegoat for the Lakers because they can go, well, we tried for Dan Hurley. We wanted Dan Hurley. We even made him an offer, right? And it was a fair offer, right? He would have been the 6th highest paid coach in the league for a guy that's unproven in the NBA. And blah, 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 blah. What else were we supposed to do? I'm sorry, we had to hire JJ. He wasn't our first, right? Like, it's their get out of jail free card. Because now everybody's going to go, we always knew it was JJ. They tried for Dan Hurley, but it didn't work out. So, it's JJ. It makes sense, right? To me, it just all adds up. Like, you look at all the information and everything is pointing towards this. Dan Hurley was just, Fugazi. Right, he was just there, right? And again, I could be wrong, just an idea, just a theory, but nonetheless, I believe JJ Redick is going to be the head coach. We continue hearing the reports; it's been that way forever, right? I'm all for JJ. I know a lot of people aren't, right? All of these head coaches are a gamble, all of them. So to me, it's like take the guy that has the most upside. Right? The reason the Lakers like JJ is because they believe he's an out-of-the-box thinker, and they believe he's a guy that is willing to adjust, right? Which is something that I've talked about for a while, right? The reason I like JJ is he's not set in his ways, right? Like, yes, it would be nice to have somebody that's proven and has experience. Thing is, that guy doesn't exist, right? The closest is it's real. I mean, you have like Frank Vogel and stuff out there, but realistically, he's not coming. The only guy that's realistic, that has some experience, and he doesn't have this like huge amount, it's just he has some, is James Borrego, right? But to me, again, James Borrego is kind of set in his ways. His offensive schemes, yes, worked with Charlotte, and some of the things that he likes to do worked with Charlotte. Some of those same things, I don't know if they work with the Lakers because you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and that was very like point guard driven with LaMelo. And so can you do that with 40-year-old LeBron? Probably not, right? So again, to me, it's like the problem with Darvin Ham is that Darvin Ham was in his box. And as long as he was able to stay within his box, he was fine, right? There were times where Darvin Ham looked great. I mean, in that playoff run where we went to the conference finals, he was greatly out coaching in the Grizzlies series and even out coached Steve Kerr in the Warriors series. And he looked great. Why? Because he never had to leave that box. As soon as we played Denver, he had to leave that box, and he couldn't. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to handle it. He starts fumbling, and he's just like throwing things at the wall, hoping something sticks, right? To where I like JJ because he's not set in his ways. It's a reason a lot of big companies like to hire people that don't have experience, because people that have years of experience are set in their ways and they think their way is the best way. And it's like, no, we want you to be able to do this way or whatever. And they're like, well, what do you know? I've been doing this for 20 years, right? Like where JJ is kind of like that fresh, wet behind the ears type guy that's coming in, like a kid right out of college that's going for a job. He's just excited to be there. He's willing to listen and be open and, hey, let's try different things. And I like that because, again, you hire somebody like a James Borrego. Is he going to be able to adjust if things aren't working? Or is he a guy that's like, I only know how to do this, right? Where I think JJ is a guy who'll be like, hey, let's go over here. That's not working. Okay, let's go over here. That's not working. Let's try here. No, let's go back over. Not fully back there, but let's try this one. Okay, here we go. Now we got. I just think he'll be able to kind of go through the ins and outs. Not really worried about the on-court stuff with JJ. I actually think he'll be great in that. I think he'll be fine with calling timeouts and rotations and running plays. I mean, he's a big X's and O's guy. He's relentless, preparation, all that stuff. I think he'll be good as a head coach. I just worry about all the things that go with being a head coach because it's a lot more than just you get there, you draw on the whiteboard and you say, okay, run this or, timeout type thing. Right? There's a lot that goes into it. You're dealing with agents and egos and players and organizations and, you're dealing with media and there's just so much that it can be overwhelming. It's a lot. Right? It's not just you're sitting there, calling out plays. You got to run film sets. You got to be able to hold players accountable. There's a lot. Right? So can he handle the abundance of things? To me, if you can put a proper bench around him, at least for the first 2 years, right? I think he'll thrive. Right? I think if you can get the right pieces to basically be around a JJ Redick, right, to where he can kind of just focus on the basketball side of things and have somebody kind of hold his hand for everything else, right, all the noise, right? I think he would do great with having somebody that can help him with the noise. Focus on the basketball stuff, let's walk you through the noise, and then I think he'll have success, and then you could cut training wheels off. But I like JJ. I mean, realistically, everyone's like, oh, we're not winning a championship with the first-year head coach. First off, the last, 6 years or whatever, it happened since who was it? It was Pat Riley and who was it, Paul Westhead or something like that. It was it only been 2 coaches up until Nick Nurse and then Tyronn Lue and Steve Kerr were the other 3 guys in their first year they won a championship, right? So it's recently it's happened in the last 10 years. It's happened 3 times. When it hadn't happened, it only happened twice ever. Right, so I don't think it's impossible. And any even Dan Hurley, people think Dan Hurley would have came in and we would have been, that's it, we're winning a championship. No, right? Even just go look at Dan Hurley's track record. It usually takes him years, right? Every organization he's been at, it took years for him to kind of get into the rhythm because he likes to take his time, really kind of carve out and sculpt what he wants to sculpt, right? So again, any coach we hire is going to be a big question on, is this the right guy that can lead us to a championship? So either JJ is or he isn't. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Are you okay with JJ? Are you not okay with JJ? Do you think no, they're going to hire somebody else? Again, maybe they do. It's not official till it's official, right? Stranger things have happened. So it's always possible. But I think ultimately JJ is going to be the head coach. Do you feel the same way? Do you not? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.